Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Wish Infinite. In this video, we are going to talk about variable and data type. So what is variable? So let's understand it with the help of one example. Let's say you want to store some value inside your memory while coding. So suppose this is the memory and inside it you want to store your age, let's say 28. So inside this memory, there are different locations where we can store the value, and this location can have the specific address or name where we would be storing our value. So for an example, we are going to store 25 here at this location, and its location is having the name as age. So in this case, our age got stored at this particular location and the location name is age. And whenever we want to access this particular value, we would be accessing it with the help of this name, and this name is the variable. So like this, we can store multiple values inside the memory at different location, and then we can provide a specific name to that particular location, and that name would be acting as variable. Whenever in future also we want to access that particular value, we would be using that variable name to get the value of that particular location. So here we can store any kind of value. It can be number or some character or string. So those are different data types. And there are two types of data types. One is primitive and second one is non-primitive. So primitive data type are simple kind of data type, and non-primitive are complex. In this section, mainly we are going to focus onto the primitive data type. So there are so many types of primitive data type. Let's go to IntelliJ and there we will have a look at it. Here I will be using the same class and the main method to show you different type of primitive data types. Let me comment out this section, and also let me change the theme of this IntelliJ first to the lighter one so that the texts would be easily visible for you. For that, I need to go to the file, then settings, and here under the appearance and behavior, we have appearance section, and inside it we can change the theme. For now, I am changing it to the lighter one. Clicking OK. Now the texts would be easily visible. Now let me hit enter inside this main method, and here we are going to talk about variable and different data types. So there are different type of data type. One can be byte, which takes 1 byte of memory, and its range is from -128 to +127. Which means you can store the numeric value within the range from 128 to 127 inside the byte. Similarly, we have data type short. It takes 2 bytes of memory and its range is from -32768 to +32767. So if you will give the number which is higher than 32767, let's say it is 40,000. So you would not be able to save it inside the short. And also, let's say if you are trying to store -45,000 inside this short, so that you will not be able to do and you would be getting the error. Similarly, we have integer data type, which takes 4 bytes of memory and it can store much larger numerical value inside the integer. After integer, we have long, where we can store the numeric value only, and it can be larger than the integer values, and it takes 8 bytes of memory. After long, we have float, which takes 4 bytes of memory, and here we can store the numerical value with the decimal number. Like if you want to store the value of pi, which is 3.14, then we can use the float. And after float, we have double, in which we can store the numeric value with the decimals. But here we can store numbers with the higher precision number. Like 3.14 can be stored into the float. But let's say there is a number 2.8652548 and long precision value is there, then in that case we will have to use the double, and it takes 8 bytes of memory. Now we have char, which takes 2 bytes of memory, which is used to store the character. It can be any character like A or B or C or @ or hyphen. So any kind of single character can be stored inside the char. And then we have Boolean, and inside it we can only store two values. It can be either true or the false. And this boolean takes 1 byte of memory. Now let's use these data types. So to store any kind of value inside the variable, we need to first mention its data type. Let's say we want to store one numeric value which is 35 inside the byte. So first we will have to mention the data type, which is byte, and then we need to mention the variable name where we want to store the specific value. So let's give the name as age, and inside this age variable I want to store the value which is 35, which is number, and after that you need to put semicolon. Don't forget to put semicolon here. This is mandatory to put semicolon after each line of code in Java. Let me print this particular value. So system.out.println, for that I will use the shortcut which is sout, hit enter, and here I want to print this 35 value which is stored inside this age variable. See, this is the variable age. So now I can use this age variable to access this particular value. So system.out.println, and inside the round parenthesis I will mention age. And now let me execute this script. All other parts are commented, only these two line of code will get executed, which is inside the main method of this Java program 1 class. Here this program spelling is incorrect. Let me correct it, and for that you can click onto the file and click onto the rename, and here let me remove this M. It will automatically rename this class also where the spelling is wrong, as well as the file name. Click onto the refactor and see, at both the places the name got corrected. Now let's execute this particular program. Click onto this run. See, this 35 got printed here, which is the value of this age variable of data type byte. And as I told, this byte has the range from -128 to +127. So let me store the value which is 305 here. See, I'm getting error here. That required type is byte and we provided the value of type integer. It is considering it as the integer and showing it as the error, because inside the byte we can not store value out of its range. So while creating the variable, keep that in mind, what data type you are providing and what value you are storing. Now let's store some bigger value inside the short. So short, let's give the variable name as salary equals to, and here let's give the salary as 30,000, semicolon at the end. So now we are able to store this 30,000 inside the variable salary, and its data type is short. Now let's use this salary variable inside this system.out.println. This age got grayed out because we are not using it, right? It will not show any error. If you want, you can comment this out also. Let me execute it, and this value will get printed. And if I try to store the value which is not within this range, then I would be getting error. Let me store the value which is higher than 32767. Let's store 3 lakh here, and see, we are getting the error that required type is short and we are providing the value of type integer. Let me change it to the value which is within the range, and now the error is gone. Similarly, minus numeric value you can also store, but it should be within this range. Let's say if I try to store a value which is -3,10,000 inside the short, again I would be getting the error as the value is out of range. And here one more thing to add, whenever we want to create the variable, we would be creating it using the camel casing. This is not mandatory, but we should follow these standards. What is camel casing? So first character of the word would be the small letter. Let's say here we have only single word which is age, so all the characters are in small casing. And here also in this salary, single word is only there, and the first character would be small followed by all the small characters. But let's say there is one more word. Let's say salary in hand, where in and hand are also different words. So in that case, we would be giving the variable name as salary, then I would be capital into the camel casing, then n is a small, which is second character of this in, and third word is hand, right? Salary in hand. So again the h would be capital followed by all the small letters. So this is the camel casing which you can follow, and as I told, it is not mandatory, but it's better to follow the standards. So by looking at the variable name only, you would be able to see that this is the variable, right? And similarly for the class, as I told, we use this Pascal casing where all the first characters would be capital without any space. Here in the variable also, we are not going to provide any space in between. For the method name also, we need to follow the same thing where we need to give the name as camel case only. Now let's continue. Now let's create a variable of type integer. So the data type would be integer. So first we need to provide int and the variable name. Here let's give the variable name as employee count equals to, and the value is 2,50,000. So like this, we would be able to save larger value inside the variable of type integer. Don't forget to use this semicolon at the end, otherwise you will get the error. See, by the compiler you would automatically be able to see the error. And here similarly you can print the employee count and it will be able to print this particular value. Now let's say we want to store much longer value. For an example, I want to store mobile number which is of 10 digits. See, here we are able to get the error that integer number is too large. And in such cases, we can use the long data type. Let me roll it back to the old value. And here, let's create a variable phone number with the data type long. So long mobile number equals to, and then we can give the long mobile number and then semicolon. And if you will notice, still we are seeing the error. Let me mouse over here. And still it is considering it as the integer. And to inform that it is of long type, we need to add capital L as the suffix of the number, so that Java will be informed that we are going to store the value which is of long type. And here also we need to mention the data type. And now the error is gone. And let's print the same mobile number. And this time we would not be getting any error and would be able to print this long number. See, the value got printed. Now let's use the float. So float is the data type. Let's give the variable name as pi equals to, and here I want to store the value which is 3.14 and then semicolon. And here also you will observe that we are getting the error, and if you will mouse over, then you would be able to see that it is showing required type is the float and we have provided double. So here also we will have to specifically mention that the value which we are giving is the float, and for that again at the end of this number we need to provide f, which is capital F, and the error will be gone. So now Java will consider this 3.14 as the float only and it will not show any error. And now you can use this variable at any place. For now let's print it here, but let's say in between your program you want to use this variable or any of the variable which we are creating, then you can use it inside your program. See, this value got printed. Similarly, we can store the double value. So double is the data type. Let's use the variable name as bill amount equals to, and here let's store one value like 234.643567 and then semicolon. See, here now we are able to store the double value. You can increase this decimal precision also, and double would be able to save the specific number. So here into the double we can store the value with the decimal places of 15 to 16 digits, but into the float it would be able to store the value with the decimal places of 7 only. And into the float we will have to specifically mention this f as the suffix of the number, but into the double such suffix is not required. Now let's use this char data type. So char, and the variable name I will give as var only equals to any meaningful name you can give. For now I'm just using var. And now let's store one character, and to store the character we need to provide single quotes, and inside it you can provide any single character. Let's print w and the semicolon. So see, this w character got stored inside this variable, and here if you will try to give two characters, then we would be seeing the error that too many characters in the character literal. So only one character you can provide. Let's provide some special character. I will give @. So this @ got saved inside this var variable. Let's give star, that also you can save. So any character you would be able to save here. For now let's save this @ and let's print this particular value with the help of this variable which is var. Let's run this program. Right click, clicking onto the run, or you can directly click here. See, this @ got printed. And now let's use this Boolean data type. So data type Boolean, and now the name of the variable Here I'm giving the name as is valid, as we are going to store true or false flag value only. So that's why I'm starting the variable name with the is, but it's totally up to you that what variable name you want to give. Equals to, and here let's give true for now and then semicolon. So now this true Boolean value got stored inside this is valid. And if you will print it, so this true will get printed here because inside this is valid, true is stored. Similarly, you can change it to false also. And let's say if I'm trying to store any number here, so I would be able to see the error. Similarly, I cannot provide any character also. Otherwise, it will show you the error that required type is Boolean and provided is char. So only true or false you would be able to save here. And like this, you can store any value of any data type inside the variable. And from this section, there can be interview question like what are all different primitive data types which are there. Second question can be like that do we need to add any suffix at the end of the float value. Similarly, the question can be for the long data type also. These are very basic questions, right? But you should be aware about that. About the range of these data types, as I told, the range of this byte and short. As the assignment, you can also try to search for the range of different data types onto the Google and can provide it inside the comment. And that's it for this particular video. Let me give you the quick recap. So here we saw that there are two types of data types which are primitive and non-primitive. We also saw that whenever we want to store any value inside the memory at the specific location, then we need to provide the name to that particular location where we can store the value. Like this, here we stored the value 25 at this location where we gave the name to the location which is age, which is our variable name. So whenever we want to access this 25 value from this location, we would be using it by providing name of the variable. And here we saw that there are different type of data types which are byte, short, int, long, float, double, char and Boolean. And we can store different values of different data types inside the variable by using this syntax. So first we need to provide the data type name, space, the variable name, which is recommended to provide into the camel case, then equals to, and then the value which we want to store. And then we can use these variables name into our code. Like this, here we have used it for printing that value, but similarly you can use it at different place for different scenario. And that's it from my end. You can click onto this first card to go to the next video. You can click onto the second card to access the whole Java tutorials playlist, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. If you have any comments, questions or doubts, you can let me know into the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.